You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that reveals facts, truth, research, and statistics and never messes around. We lay down the entire truth about everything regarding your Detroit and Michigan sports teams, no matter if it's good or bad. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at MichiganSportsTruth.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_Truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. The hosts of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast do not take any suggestions or criticism from any member of its audience on how it should be run. It is up to the host to decide what they want to cover. They also do not intend to be any amount of popular in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Additionally, the views of the audience, right or wrong, do not reflect the actual truth revealed on this program.
And the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is back on the air with another post-game edition for Friday, May 25th, 2018, less than 3 days away from Memorial Day. The Tigers come back to beat the terrible Chicago White Sox 5-4 in the first of a 3-game series at Comerica Park. Let's go ahead and check out what happened here. And the Cleveland Indians get shellacked in the end. Their bullpen allows 11 runs on their own home field against the defending world champion Houston Astros, as the Astros beat the Indians 11-2 at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, that's the AL Comedy Central, folks. My God. But back to the Tigers game here. The Tigers committed 2 errors. Shane Green gets his 12th save. Buck Farmer gets a win, 1-3. Buck Farmer pitches an inning, a scoreless inning in the 8th. Strikes out 2. Improves from his previous performance. Mike Fiers got rocked. 4 earned runs on 9 hits in 5 2/3 innings. That's pretty bad. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 478. The bullpen admittedly did a hell of a job. They only allowed 2 hits, 0 walks, 4 strikeouts. Not bad at all. In fact, pretty damn good. Nick Castellanos delivered the game-tying double in the 8th inning. The Tigers put a 3-spot in the bottom of the 8th inning with a Leonis Martin RBI single, a Nick Castellanos double, and a Heimer Candelario RBI single. Heimer Candelario just came off the 10-day disabled list prior to that game. That's what I heard. Miguel Cabrera says he could be back soon from his hamstring injury. But still, he's injury prone. It might not matter, even if he was good. It's time to pass the torch. White Sox jump out to a 3-0 lead. Tigers strike back with 2 in the 4th. An RBI ground out by Victor Martinez. After a wild pitch, allowing Leonis Martin to score, put the Tigers on the board in the bottom of the 4th inning. Tim Anderson got 2 RBIs, including a home run. Tigers improved to 22-28, still 6 games under 500, but 2.5 back of the Cleveland Indians. That's still mediocre, for goodness sakes. The White Sox still terrible, 15-33, last place in the AL Comedy Central, understandably. Without the shadow of a doubt, Tigers just may take at least 2 or 3, maybe a sweep. How hilarious would that be if the Tigers actually lost 1, at least, to those terrible White Sox at home at Comerica Park? Saturday at 4:10 is the first pitch in the next game. The Tigers.
That one is long gone.
I saw Nick Castellanos. I saw a highlight at work of Nick Castellanos throwing out one of the White Sox hitters, trying to stretch a single into a double. And I thought, wow, Nick Castellanos has got a cannon out there in right field. But that's an example of why the Tigers farm system is not as terrible as we think. It still could be better, but some of their younger players are really stepping up in the majors. They're contributing somewhat contributing somehow. So that's all we know at the moment. They're still a mediocre team. It's a rebuilding year. So why don't we just move on here to the Pistons?
Left sideline 3 and he answers.
The Pistons, as I heard a little earlier this week, have hired Memphis Grizzlies Vice President of Player Personnel Ed Stefanski to rebuild the team's front office in the wake of Stan Van Gundy's dismissal, according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Stefanski will orchestrate the Pistons' search for a new general manager and head coach, and he reportedly already has a candidate in mind for the latter position. Former Toronto Raptors bench boss Dwayne Casey has emerged as the primary target of Detroit's coaching search, according to Wojnarowski, according to sources. This is from thescore.com, written by Joe Wolfond. Stefanski will receive a 3-year deal and assume an advisory role in which he will report directly to Pistons owner Tom Gores, sources told Vincent Ellis of the Detroit Free Press. The position sounds vaguely similar to the one Jerry West has taken up with the Los Angeles Clippers. And the last paragraph there, Stefanski has ties to Casey from his time in Toronto, where he served as the Raptors' vice president of basketball operations from 2011 to 2013, the first 2 years of Casey's tenure. Before that, Stefanski served as the GM of the then New Jersey Nets, now the Brooklyn Nets, but then the then New Jersey Nets from 2004 to 2007, and the Philadelphia Sixers 2007 to 2010. His most notable move as an executive came during his first season with the Nets, when he fleeced the Raptors in a lopsided trade for Vince Carter. So, you can tell Ed Stefanski wants Dwayne Casey really badly to become the head coach of the Pistons. Because they got mutuality between the two. So I'm going to share that on our Facebook page, the Michigan Sports Truth. Real quick. So that Dwayne Casey finished with a career record of 373 and 307 in 7 seasons for the Toronto Raptors before being let go after being due to them being swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round of the NBA playoffs. They got swept for a second straight year by those guys. And by the way, the Cavaliers forced a Game 7 109-99 against the Boston Celtics. There'll be a Game 7 probably Sunday in Boston. Unless I'm wrong.
No, it's Sunday, and why am I not surprised it's going to Game 7? I'm not surprised at all.
No, not at all. So, Stefanski was telling Wojnarowski, quote, "I'm going to Detroit to meet with all the employees, and I'm going to listen to all their thoughts and visions. And then I'm going to give advice to our owner, Tom Gores, on how we are going to structure things going forward. The big thing right now, though, is that we need a head coach and a general manager. Those will be 2 items that we will probably do simultaneously." So, Stefanski will rebuild the front office as actually the president of basketball operations. He was the vice president of player personnel for the Memphis Grizzlies, but now he's the president of basketball operations for the Pistons. Yeah, I'm going to have to edit this here because I had a little misspelling anyway. But it'll be edited soon when I... Oh, in fact, why don't I edit it right now and shift it to Louis Tenor with his National Sports Report. I'm going to hit the bumper again.
It's now time for the National Sports Report with Louis Tenor.
Yep.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Taylor. And away we go. All right. We'll start with on the diamond. With the baseball scores, the Yankees edged the Angels 2-1. Green got the win. Johnson got the loss, and Chapman got the save. Torres got the go-ahead run in the 8th inning to give the Yankees the win. This kid is hot. Cubs over the Giants today in an afternoon game, 6-2. Hendricks got the win. Holland got the loss, and Morrow got the save. Blue Jays edged the Phillies 6-5. Gavrolino got the win. Efren got the loss, and Tempria got the save. And that game was on Channel 10 here in the Southern New Jersey, Philadelphia area, which I was viewing. Pirates crushed the Cardinals 8-1. Musgrave got the win. Gant got the loss. Red Sox beat the Braves 6-2. Rodriguez got the win. DeHaren got the loss. And so they're still breathing down our necks. Astros scalped the Indians 11-2. Smith got the win. Miller got the loss. As we mentioned before, the Tigers edged the White Sox 5-4. Bummer got the win. Rodin got the loss, and Green got the save. That's Green with an E at the end.
Yep, 12th save.
Nice. Nationals over the Fish, a.k.a. the Marlins, at 9-5. Scherzer got the win. Wintergreen got the loss, and Doolittle got the save. Orioles beat the Rays 2-0. Romano got the loss.
Oh, no.
Davis
Yep. Hang on a second.
This is now a final D-backs over the Athletics, 7-1. Corbin got the win, and Maynard got the loss. Dodgers over the Padres, 4-1. Stripling got the win. Richard got the loss, and Jansen got Dave. All right, so now let's go to the standings. And they read this way. All right, there we go. And of course, it's a tight one in the especially the American League. A very tight race in the American League here. Just a second here.
This is the post-game edition.
Right. All right. Standings go like this. In the American League East, it is a battleground between the Yankees and the Dead Sox, or as everybody else calls them, the Red Sox. And right now, I believe the Red Sox have a half game lead over the Yankees. It's up to. Red Sox have the lead now, 35-16. A one-game lead over the Yankees, 32-15. And the rest of the dumpster fire. The Blue Jays are 11 back at 24-27. The Rays are 11 back at 23-26. And the Orioles are 17-34, 18 back. In the Central, the Indians, this is a disaster of a division right here. Indians are 24-25, have a game and a half lead over the Twins, 21-25. Tigers are 2.5 back at 22-28. The Royals 17-34, 8 back, and the White Sox are 8.5 back at 15-33. In the West, the Astros lead at 34-18, have a 3-game lead over the Mariners at 30-20. The Angels 20-23, 5.5 back. Athletics 26-25, 7.5 back, and the Rangers 21-32, 13.5 back. In the National League, the Braves continue to be the surprise of the year, now at 29-20, have a half-game lead over the Phillies, 28-20, thanks to tonight's loss. The Nationals just 2 back at 27-22. The Mets are 3 back at 25-22, and the Marlins bring up the rear at 19-31, 10.5 back. In the Central, the Brewers are still in front, 32-20, thanks to tonight's win. 3 ahead of the Pirates at 20-22. Cubs are 3.5 back at 26-21. Cardinals are 26-21, 4 back. And the Reds are 18-34 at 14 back. The West. The Rockies are in front, 27-24. Have a half-game lead over the D-backs at 26-24. Giants 24-27, 3 back. Dodgers 23-27, 3.5 back. And the Padres are 21-31 at 6.5 back. All right, now you're taking care of that. Now let's take care of tomorrow's games, I should say, later today. And they read like this. Starting off, your 105 game are the Braves versus the Red Sox. We got a lot of 405 games here, starting with the D-backs versus the Athletics. Royals taking on the Rangers. Blue Jays taking on the Phillies. And the Cardinals taking on the Pirates. 4-10 games. The White Sox take on the Tigers. The Mets take on the Brewers. The Nationals take on the Marlins. Orioles take on the Rays. 7-15 games. These are Fox games, if I'm not mistaken. Astros will take on the Indians. The Angels will take on the Yankees. And the Giants will take on the Cubs. At 9:10, Reds will take on the Rockies. 10:10 games are the Twins taking on the Mariners and the Padres taking on the Dodgers. All right. So now we'll take care of that, and now we'll go on to the NBA. Of course, there was only one game tonight as we're now down to the final games before the finals begin. And tonight was tonight I thought it was going to be a better game, to be honest with you. I didn't think that Boston was going to close it out, but I thought maybe it'd be a little bit closer than what I expected. But the Cavaliers poured it on tonight against the Celtics in a 109-99 win. LeBron James was the high scorer, 46 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. And Terry Rozier had 28 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. And Game 7 is Sunday night at 8. So tune in for that one. And, of course, Game 1 is Monday night in the Stanley Cup Finals between the Washington Capitals and the Vegas Golden Knights. And Ovechkin was overcome with emotion after the win on Wednesday night. But, of course, naturally, there are tears of joy. This is his first shot at a Stanley Cup Final in his 13-year career. And it's the first time that the Capitals have been to the finals in 20 years. The last time they were there, they got swept by, I think it was a team from Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Red Wings. Yeah, 20 years ago, wow. The good old days. All right, I got some other news here. I know we don't pay much attention to this, but I'll give it a shot anyway. WNBA was in action tonight with 2 games. As the Storm beat the Sky in overtime, 95-91. The Minnesota Lynx beat the New York Liberty, that's my team, 78-72. Thanks a lot. Well, it's still early in the season for them, so I'm not too worried. I got some interesting college baseball if anybody's interested, because it is playoff time. So I thought I'd just run a few scores down. One starting with my area, my Seton Pirates beat the shellacking out of Georgetown, 21-5. Thank you very much. Central Michigan, I think they played 2 games today, if I'm not mistaken. They beat Ball State 7-2 in one game, and I believe they beat Ohio State 5-3 in another. Ohio State beat Michigan 5-3. So it's 1-1. I believe the first to lose 2 is out of the running. I believe that's how it works in college baseball.
Oh well.
I never understood though the college baseball system and how their playoff games work. Central Michigan also beat Toledo 6-5.
Oh yeah, fire up chips.
Yeah, I just thought you might like to know that.
Yep.
Yeah, why not? All right. Okay, I have also some Major League Soccer scores that I'd like to pass along as well. And here we go. And the score with this, at last check, the LA Galaxy and the San Jose Earthquakes are scoreless. A couple of finals here. Dallas beats Toronto 1-0, and Houston beat New York Football Club 3-1. Or as I call them, the New York Mets of MLS soccer. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll think on some standings down here. Starting in the East, the Atlanta United are 8-3-1. Columbus Crew is 7-3-3. New York FC is also 7-3-3. Rebels 7-3-0. Orlando 6-4-1. New England 5-4-2. Philadelphia is 4-5-2. Oh boy. Chicago 3-6-2. Toronto, 3-7-1. That's bad. Montreal, 3-9-0, and DC, 2-5-2. Oh boy. And that's the Eastern Conference. Now for the West. The LA Football Club is 7-2-3. Sport Kansas City, rather, 7-2-3. LAFC is 6-3-2. Dallas, who won tonight, 5-1-5. Houston, because they have a problem, is 5-3-3. Portland is 5-3-2. Vancouver is 4-5-4. LA, 4-6-1. That's bad. Minnesota, 4-7-1. Salt Lake, 4-6-1. San Jose, 2-6-3. Seattle, 2-5-2, and Colorado, 2-6-2. Ugh. I'll say one thing though: when it rains, it pours over there. You know, consider when you do that bad, when you do that bad,
then someone has to be held accountable.
Yeah, but then again, I know a lot of people don't really care about the whole thing anyway, but still, I figured it was, worth mentioning. All right, so there are games tomorrow, as Soccer Saturday is usually a crowded Saturday in the soccer world, and there will be games tomorrow in the MLS, and we read down like this. Getting off with the Seattle Sounders versus Real Salt Lake. That's 5 o'clock. 5:30, Vancouver will take on New England. Yes. At 7 o'clock, it's a Battle of the Turnpike between the Red Bulls and the Philadelphia Union. It's a battle of the Jersey Turnpike, I should say. Orlando will take on Chicago at 7:30. Minnesota versus Montreal at 8 o'clock. Colorado versus Portland at 9 o'clock. And LA versus DC United at 10 o'clock. I think though it should be reversed. It should say DC and LA, not LA and DC, since it is at 10 o'clock. Somebody doesn't do this right, dimwits. All right. Okay, so now we'll go on to the news items of the day. And we read like this. I always hate to start off on a sad note, but tonight I must. As Indiana football coach Bill Mallory, who led the team to career wins in their school football history, passed away yesterday at the age of 82. He underwent emergency brain surgery after a fall that occurred on Tuesday. Indiana University confirmed his death in a tweet by his son Kurt, who is now the head football coach at Indiana State. Very sorry to hear that. Before he took over, Indiana was less than caliber football school, but he had turned that team around in Big Ten football. Yankees plan to activate the Birdman, or as we call him, Greg Bird, from the DL list before today's game against the Angels. It is not known who will be sent down. Bird was injured in spring training and was on minor league rehab assignment with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. The rumor is that Tyler Austin could be sent down to the minors to make room for Bird, although I don't think it should be, because he is batting .238 with 8 home runs and 23 RBIs. I think sending him down to the minors would be a mistake with those kind of numbers. That's not too shabby. Yeah. But then again, I don't manage the team, so I have no say in that whatsoever. All right. Boston Red Sox designate Hanley Ramirez for assignment to clear a roster spot for Dustin Pedroia as he comes off the DL list. Ramirez has $15 million more in his contract this season. The Red Sox will have to pay him unless they find a trade partner within the next 6 days. If not, the Red Sox will have to will have to release him. Ramirez has an option on his contract worth $22 million for next season if he reaches 497 plate appearances. At this point, he's at 195 for the season. If he is released, that option is no longer in play. To release him or not release him? That's the question. As Jackson reported. All right, LA Angels pushed back the next start for Ohtani. Manager Mike Scioscia made the announcement on Thursday. He was scheduled to pitch against the Yankee pitcher Tanaka. Scioscia said Ohtani would be able to pitch on Sunday. There is no official word on when that next start would be. He last pitched on last Sunday, where he gave up 2 runs on 6 hits and 7 2/3 innings, and threw 110 pitches, his highest amount of the season. Ohtani had been in the DH for the 2 games prior to tonight, with a game-tying single in the 9th on Wednesday against the Blue Jays, as well as the finale on Thursday. If you ask me, though, I don't see why he is allowed, though, to both pitch and bat. That goes against American League rules. One person that we know for sure who knows where he's going, Evander Kane, had signed a 7-year, $49 million deal with the San Jose Sharks. He's the one that can bring that team, make good of it, because they're pretty good with them. All right. Well, games. As we mentioned, that we know that this was going to be a hot series between the Rockets and the Warriors, but Rockets have got a step back as it's now official that Chris Paul is going to be out for Game 6 thanks to a right hamstring injury that he suffered in the final minute of Game 5 on Thursday. He will be reevaluated when the team returns to Houston. There was talk that he would be able to play. His status, though, was updated after receiving further treatment. Meanwhile, the status on Iguodala is still up in the air. So we don't know yet where he stands at this point. Okay, continuing on. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Terrence Williams told the Frisco, Texas police that his former team from Baylor and current Minnesota Viking receiver Kendall Knight was responsible for an accident that involved Williams' car, which happens to be a Lamborghini for crying out loud, last weekend. That according to the police report. Williams was arrested for being a public schmuck, intoxication, a Class C misdemeanor, and released on a bond of, wow, listen to this, folks, a whopping $369, and was released from the Frisco Detention Center. Police are still investigating the cause of the accident, in which his car crashed into a light pole that was near the Cowboys' training facility. Police found the car at 4:41 a.m., determined it was registered to Williams and was sent to his home in a gated community. The gate attendant told Officer Steve Barham that Williams arrived as a passenger in the car 10 to 15 minutes before the police arrived. 4:41 a.m. Used to be such a quiet neighborhood. Okay, continuing on here. It's before he's from the accident. On his way to Vikings general manager Rick Spielman addressed the matter in a statement. He said, "I have spoken directly to Kendall and his agent, and both assured me there is no truth to the matter at hand." That's what you say now. All right, now here's a weird story that I'm thinking here. Former heavyweight boxing champion Jack Johnson, now he was the champion 100 years ago, was partnered by President Donald Trump. He violated what was called the Mann Act of 1913. Last month, Mr. Trump said he was considering the pardon after receiving a phone call from, get this, Sylvester Stallone. Previous pleas from other leaders, stars, and presidents and lawmakers have all failed. Mr. Trump stated, I am taking a righteous step in correcting a wrong in our history and to honor a true boxing champion. He also said that Johnson served 10 months in prison for what many viewed as a racially motivated injustice. The Mann Act went into law in 1910. The law made it a felony to transplant women or young girls across state lines for any young girls for the purpose of prostitution or other immoral purposes. The thing is, Johnson died in a car accident in 1946 at the age of 68. You're pardoning a person who died over 70 years ago. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what took you so long? I mean, I've heard better late than never, but in this case, that's a little too late. Okay, just when we thought the NFL was finished with the issues of the anthem controversy, word came there was no formal vote when taken as a passed resolution. The rule does take effect this season, confirmed by league spokesman Brian McCarthy. Instead, a call of hands to test support that came back with 0 nays. It's an unofficial process, however, it is often used. McCarthy said that it was considered a vote. Sources told Seth Wickersham that they wanted the league officials to make a sure resolution that would not fail. After hours of debate that called for a show of hands, the informal nature did surprise some. Not taking an official tally is a typical response to a major resolution. I knew that. The league's new policy calls for players to stand during the anthem or face a fine for not showing respect to the anthem. However, players will be given the option to remain in the locker room until the anthem is over. Well, before 2009, they all stayed in the locker room. So that would be nothing new at all anyway. As I mentioned, Ovechkin is ready for his Stanley Cup final debut. Oh boy, this is going to be good. And on the show coming up later tonight, I'll be taking predictions between the Golden Knights and the Capitals. So just to give you a heads up on that. All right, well, more show up for baseball as another MLB player gets suspended. This time it was White Sox catcher Wellington Castillo, who got an 80-game suspension for violating the league's joint drug agreement announced by MLB a few days ago. He is being banned for a substance called EPO, a performance-enhancing drug. This is the second violation that has occurred in this month, following Mariners second baseman Robbie Cano, who also tested positive for a banned substance that was banned by the league, and he is also serving an 80-game suspension. You think after the first time you would learn that you shouldn't do it, but some people never learn. All right, now here's the uplifting story of the week, I think. In an age where college athletes seem to go for the rush for glory and leave for school after just 1 or 2 years, well, this one's a bit of a reverse trend here. North Carolina Tar Heel forward Luke May says he will return to the team for his senior season and withdrew his name from the NBA draft. May had entered the draft without an agent, enabling him to reconsider before the deadline on May 30th. Last season, May averaged 16.9 and 10 rebounds per game and shot 43.1% from the three-point line. As a junior, May, likely a preseason All-American, and could be the best returning player in college basketball next season. The 15 players selected by the Associated Press as All-Americans, May is just one of 3 players returning along with Carson Edwards from Purdue and Kyle Guy from Virginia. Yeah, so it's nice to see that there's a little bit of a, upperclassmen playing. And being that the Indianapolis 500 is on Sunday, but we have a note here from the Hall of Fame class of 2019, and Jeff Gordon will be leading the NASCAR Hall of Fame class for 2019. No surprise there. And of course, the Indianapolis is on Sunday morning, bright and early. All right. LeBron shakes off rumors of the fatigue factor after Wednesday night's loss to the Celtics. Coach Tyronn Lue said that he was looking tired, despite the fact he had 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. But his level of energy was lacking off at times, and may have contributed to the 6 turnovers. I have my moments, he said, when asked about if he was feeling tired. I think everybody at this point is feeling a bit worn down. James later dismissed the issue and said, "I'm fine. I did not mention the fatigue factor. The media did." Media can be wrong too. Former Mets and Philly star Lenny Dykstra was arrested in Linden, New Jersey, after threatening an Uber driver while he was in the possession of drugs, preferably marijuana, according to NewJersey.com. The website reported the authorities that he was making terrorist threats and a number of drug offenses. The Uber driver told the police that he picked up Dykstra in Linden, and when he refused to change the agreed-upon destination, Dykstra pulled out a gun and pointed at the driver's head and, of course, threatened to kill him. Oh boy, what a jerk. The driver said he sped into a parking lot next to the Linden police station, honked his horn, and then fled from the vehicle, according to NewJersey.com. Police did not find a gun, but found cocaine, marijuana, and ecstasy. And Dykstra was taken into custody at 3:30 a.m. Dykstra took to a Twitter response in front of the allegations by, among other things, citing lyrics from Taylor Swift and Rihanna and Kelly Clarkson. Okay, I don't get that at all. And I'm not going to touch that one when it's half the poll. Okay, just a few more notes here. LA Clippers have announced that they have given a contract extension to Doc Rivers. Exact terms were not disclosed. Rivers was entering the final year of his contract, which paid him $11 million. Rivers completed his 5th season as head coach, finishing with a 42-40 record, and he was competing for a playoff spot until the last days of the season. Rivers surrendered his title as president of basketball operations in August, paving the way for Lawrence Frank, who was with the Nets at one time, to take over the position. All right, New York Rangers fans, your search for head coach is over, as they have hired former Boston University head coach Dan Quinn. He is the second college coach to jump to the pros in just over a month, and the third in the last 4 years. Quinn, who was hired just hours after the Rangers failed to make the playoffs for the first time since 2010, a brief news conference was taking place on Thursday. Quinn coached the Boston University hockey team to 4 NCAA appearances in 5 seasons, including the title game in 2015. He spent the lockout of 2013, the shortened season, with the Colorado Avalanche as an assistant coach. And we got more here. Oh yeah, And UFC is going to have a new home soon, as UFC and ESPN have come to terms on a 5-year deal that's worth $1.5 billion. The new agreement will allow ESPN to televise up to 30 events per season. This report came from Variety of all sources. Variety. That's weird. The agreement was announced on Wednesday morning. There'll be 10 bouts on the ESPN networks, while the R20 will be part of the new streaming service known as ESPN Plus. And I gotta find a way to use PayPal to get it. Eagles quarterback Nick Foles could earn up to $500K in the restructured deal. Sources tell ESPN. It breaks down this way: $250,000 for each game he plays, in at least a third of the snap count, and another $250,000 for 1/3 of the snaps, and if he manages to win these games. This will amount to a max value of $8 million, according to league sources. The Eagles and Foles agreed to a rework contract this offseason. $14 million in incentives. The specifics, which are largely tied to him being a regular starter for the 2018 season. This would turn to Foles if Carson Wentz was not fully healed from his ACL and MCL injuries that occurred back in December. If you ask me, I saw a little bit of it yesterday morning, and I don't think he's ready. Okay, now this is going to be the wacky story of the week. Astros pitcher Garrett Cole let Houston's win despite giving up a home run to Brandon Crawford on Wednesday night. And get this, it just happens to be his brother-in-law. Well, at least he kept it all in the family. Oh, all right, I deserve that. It was his only miscue of the game, as he did strike out 8 batters in 6 innings of work. Cole was likely due for a home run after saying that Crawford robbed him of a home run that was in the deepest part of the ballpark when he played for the Pirates. Crawford entered 4 for 16 off the right-handed pitcher. He singled in the second inning and extended his hitting streak to 9 games. Then he got his first extra base hit in the second against the home run. Cole said, "I kind of looked over at him to see if he would smile and think that the bloop single was funny. He did not." Crawford said, "The home run, I did not look at him at all." Of all the people to hit a home run of your brother-in-law, oh boy. Now I've heard it all. And just for the record, Mike D'Antoni said that Chris Paul was playing injured with a sore right foot in the late in game 2 of the night, and he just kept his secret from everybody. But now he's not going to be playing for Game 6 either. So this has been bothering him for quite some time. So we'll have to see what happens this point. But I still think the Rockets are going to take it. I wouldn't put it past it. All right, so now we'll just check on a few late scores to see if they have all been completed. You would think they would by now. And yes, the Arizona Dodgers have beaten the Padres 4-1. Okay, that concludes my notes for this evening. I'll turn back over to you.
All right, that's going to do it for the post-game edition for Friday, May 25th, 2018. It is now May 26th. We'll have another post-game at some point, probably at 11 p.m. again. Tigers and White Sox at Comerica Park at 4:10. Before we sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this episode and our entire podcast, especially in our groups, on social media from Spreaker, because we want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is in search of a wider audience that is fans of our teams so they can learn the truth about them. So please spread the word about the Michigan Sports Truth podcast, its Facebook page, and its Twitter handle at Michigan_Truth. Also listen to us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. For Louis Tenor, I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. We'll talk to you tomorrow night at 11 p.m. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Good night.
The hosts of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast do not take any suggestions or criticism from any member of its audience on how it should be run. It is up to the host to decide what they want to cover. They also do not intend to be any amount of popular in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Additionally, the views of the audience, right or wrong, do not reflect the actual truth revealed on this program.
Mission complete.